We close our look at the legislature with the forces that actually shape how it represents Californians, constituents, interest groups, the governor, and the ever-present initiative process. Start with representation. Because California's legislative districts are so enormous, 500,000 people per assembly district, direct contact between legislators and constituents is rare. Most people can only communicate through organized groups, media coverage, or constituent services offices. Research suggests legislators respond less to direct communication than to electoral accountability, the fear of a challenge, which means they're most responsive to organized constituencies that can mobilize voters, make campaign contributions, or generate media attention. That puts interest groups at the center of California legislative politics. Given the complexity of the legislation and the cost of running every 2 or 4 years in expensive media markets, fundraising pressure is intense. The Fair Political Practices Commission regulates lobbying and campaign finance, requiring lobbyists to register and disclose. But there's a persistent feature of Sacramento worth naming: the revolving door. Former legislative staff who become lobbyists bring their procedural knowledge and relationships to their advocacy, creating an institutionalized access that raises real questions about whether organized interests get better representation than unorganized citizens. The governor is the most consequential player of all. Through message power, veto power, appointment power, and emergency power, the governor shapes the legislative agenda. On priority bills, governors deploy staff liaisons, brief committee members, and negotiate directly with individual legislators. Research shows governors get a substantial majority of their priority proposals passed, though success varies with the partisan makeup of the chambers and the political capital they've accumulated. And finally, remember that the legislature never operates alone. California is a hybrid democracy where direct and representative institutions interact constantly. Voter-approved initiatives lock in policies the legislature can't easily revise, especially in fiscal policy, where Proposition 13 capped property taxes and Proposition 98 mandated minimum education funding. The cumulative effect is a budget where much of the spending is constitutionally mandated, leaving the legislature less discretion than the raw numbers suggest. The post-2012 reforms, competitive maps, the top 2 primary, revised term limits, and a simple majority budget threshold have made the legislature somewhat more functional, with fewer budget impasses. But it still operates under real structural constraints that limit how quickly and coherently it can respond to the challenges facing 40 million people. And managing those constraints is precisely the work of the budget process, which we turn to next.